If this question ends up on the test or a similar question, you have no reason to miss this. This is one of those, oh, thank you, Mr. Bullens. It took me about 3 seconds to answer this. How does heat energy from the sun reach the earth? Jasper, easiest question in the world. The answer is radiation. Now listen, I know I say for you to interact with questions and answers, but is this one of those I need? Like, I don't need you to draw a sun and the earth and a giant image of radiation. This is a do you know the definition? Rock on and move on to the next one, because I look at the next one, it's like, oh, there's a lot of words I need to read. That one is, do you know what radiation is? Boom, I'm done. And knock it out. Sam is conducting an experiment. He pours the same amount of water into 4 containers. He has a copper container, a glass container, a paper container, and a plastic container. What would best keep the water cold? There are 2 that we can eliminate immediately. And one of them we watched in a video yesterday, and it got hot real quick. What are the 2 I can get rid of super fast, Matthew? Glass and copper, because we know metals, especially copper, and glass conduct heat super quickly. If I wanted to keep that drink cold, I would not put it in a copper cup or a glass cup. Which one of those would best keep the water cold, paper or plastic? So it's like I'm at the grocery store. The answer is plastic. While paper is decent and it's not a great conductor, it's also not a great insulator. It's kind of in between. Right? Like we said, we've mentioned those Starbucks cups a lot. Most of their cups are made of paper, right? But when they give you that smoking hot coffee, they give you that cardboard thing to hold the cup. Otherwise, it will burn your hand. Because paper cups are not great insulators. All right, 15. Back to having some pictures. That's kind of nice. Sarah wants to keep her drinks cold during an afternoon sports game. Gee, I wonder what the answer is with the picture I put on here. Why would I not want a metal cooler? I didn't say one of those metal coolers with the vacuum space on the inside like a Yeti. I read just a metal box, dump ice in it, and sit it outside to keep things cool. Why would that be a bad idea, Pacey? Because metals will conduct heat. Will metal insulate anything from heat? No. Those are horrible. Now, I've got 2 choices. I want my cooler to be plastic. Rafaela, do I want my cooler to be plastic because it will conduct heat? Or do I want my cooler to be plastic because it will insulate from heat? Insulate. What does insulate mean? Something that's difficult for heat to pass through is an insulator. 15, pretty easy, right? Pretty straightforward. 16, I'm going to pause. Now that we took a minute or 2 to watch that video that was basically explaining what's going on in this here, when you have that metal ball that will pass through the hoop very easily until you heat it up, what happens to items when we heat them up, Pacey? They expand. What happens to things when they get colder? Deacon? They contract. That's why today when we were playing the whisper game and I said I had to put air in my tires because it was really cold, you do have to do that in the middle of winter. It gets cold and the air contracts and all of a sudden it seems like your tire's going flat. It's not. It's just those molecules are getting closer together. This picture down here is what it looks like on those bridges and overpasses that we go over. There's space for it to contract and get smaller and expand and get bigger in the summertime. Otherwise, it would crack the bridges and we would all fall off of them. So what happens to materials when they are heated? Not everything changes color. I don't know of anything that doubles in size. I'd have to figure that out. I guess maybe if you're baking bread, you could say that, but it might get triple the size, right, of the dough. I don't know. I just don't think those are good answers. They definitely don't contract. So we know that the best answer is A. They expand. An engineer. And again, we literally did this in class yesterday. An engineer is choosing from 4 materials to make a heat-resistant handle for a spoon. Who remembers me putting all those spoons in the super hot water yesterday? Unless you weren't here. If you're listening at home, I put a bunch of spoons in super hot water. What material is least likely to get hot When it's in boiling water. And for your class, it was boiling water because I poured it from that tea kettle. Okay, did the metal spoon get hot? Yes. It was in a glass. Was the glass hot? Yes, we can't do glass. I did not have a ceramic spoon. I guess I need to find one of those. But what was the one that never got hot at all yesterday? The wood spoon. Wood would be the best thing to make a handle out of if you're going to cook with it, because it's not going to conduct heat very easily at all. The plastic was okay. I mean, after it could melt. Plastic got a little warmer because it was closer, but you got to be careful. All right. Why are fireplaces made of brick and metal? Are brick and metal unaffected by heat? I mean, have you ever been near fireplaces that are the bricks warm? Yes. Would you stick your hand in there on the little grate that holds the fire logs and pick it up? You would? No, it would burn you because it's metal. So you can't say it's unaffected by heat. You can't say brick and metal remain cool during a fire. So now I've eliminated two choices pretty easily. Right, Chrisbel? Very easily eliminating two choices. Are they C, able to withstand high heat, or D, cool off quickly when the fire is out? What's the best example why we make fireplaces out of brick and metal? Owen. C, they're able to withstand that high heat. They're expanding, aren't they? But they're not cracking and breaking like some materials would. You have to be careful. When you get some things too hot and they cool off, it would just break. Can't have that. Okay? We laughed about this one when we were doing the Whisper Challenge when someone said using a foam koozie to keep their can cool. But on a hot day in the sun, why does Robert use a foam can holder to keep his drink cool? Okay? Does foam insulate the drink? I like that answer because the insulators keep heat from transitioning, right? Do they reflect cold air? No. Do they reflect the heat from the sun off of the can? I mean, maybe if it's white, it reflects some of the sunlight, but we have no idea what color this thing is. It conducts heat. You would not want, unless it was your cup of coffee, you would not want heat going to your drink, right? Your best answer is A. And last one. This will be a shorter video than the first one. Why metal is a good material for making frying pans. And we did this. This is one of the ones that someone read to someone else. Why should I make my frying pan out of metal? It's the same hand. Jacob. Metal is a good conductor. So look. Metal is a good conductor. Metal is a good conductor. Metal is a poor conductor, not the answer. Poor conductor, not the answer. So Jacob, we're going to keep reading. And transfers heat from the stove to the food. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Or does not transfer heat. Well, which one do you think is the best answer? Jacob says A because B makes no sense at all. You guys feel good about that? Let me pause this guy.